resist their great website in the background, but feel free to check it out at some point. So just for the next few minutes, just want to talk to you a little bit about my gap year, some details.
Is that distracting to you?
The details around my gap year, what Coaches Across Continents does, what their goals are, some examples of their success, as well as the details around my fundraising. So for my gap year, as most of you probably know, I've been playing soccer since before I can remember. I'm a referee, I'm a coach, I do radio segments and write articles about soccer, and I'm just really excited to be working with a company that uses soccer to affect change in a positive way. So just a little bit more detail. In each location, there's usually about 4 to 5 volunteer coaches like myself, as well as 1 senior coach who is employed by Coaches Across Continents. And some of the locations I'll be going to include Indonesia, Colombia, Peru, Tanzania, and a couple more that I don't know of yet. Because you are working with organizations in developing countries, they can't go too far ahead yet. They have to focus on the now sometimes. So CAC is an international charitable organization that focuses on using soccer as a platform to affect positive change. And they focus, please silence yourself. They focus on different social issues depending on the region. So they mostly focus their curriculum on children, but they also do accommodate people of all ages. It's just a disaster.
I think that means split the car.
Yeah.
Who needs enemies when you have a mom like that?
Anyway, and they love to introduce kids to the game, they love to introduce them to the passion of the game, but their main goal is to use soccer, like I said, as a platform to affect change. So in each location, they try to do a 3-year process where the first year they go in, they really have control. The volunteers and senior coaches from CAC take the reins, and then by that 3rd year, they're hoping that they can hand over control to local coaches. So then they don't have to send resources every single year, year after year for a long time. They can show them how to implement the program, and then local coaches can continue that and sustain the effect in each area. So to do that, they have 3 goals in each location: create a sustainable long-term program. Like I said, find the coaches that are locals that will continue to coach in the future and train other coaches, and when they can, provide facilities and equipment to these locations. So their curriculum is focused around soccer for female empowerment, for health and wellness, and for conflict resolution. So a few examples of those. In their first year in Kigoma, Tanzania, they had a lot of trouble with the local government not wanting girls to participate in the sessions, which, as you can imagine, is an issue for a company that wants to talk about female empowerment if all you have are boys in your session. So they had a lot of meetings with the government and finally negotiated a 1-week trial period where they would allow girls to come out and participate, and the government basically agreed to it in the assumption that girls didn't even want to play, and they wanted to prove that to CAC. So on the first night, only 1 very brave, very motivated girl named Nima showed up. And each night, the numbers increased, and by the 5th and final night, there were 150 girls out participating, which was roughly the same amount as boys were there. And since then, Nima has continued to participate. She's now becoming a coach, and last year they had 250 girls attend their sessions.
Woo!
Yeah. So much for girls not even wanting to play.
Right.
And then for health and wellness, a man named Jinan in Indonesia has lived with HIV for 14 years, and Indonesia is a very difficult place to live with HIV. There's not very much understanding, there's not much education around it, and there's a really tough stigma around it. So he and others in his community were threatened with death, threatened to have their homes burned down. So to solve this, he created an organization that partners with CAC that goes around Indonesia educating young men and women about the realities of HIV, and so far they've already taught 10,000 young men and women about HIV, and the number is growing, and he sees the effect, and he's not receiving threats. He's living comfortably and safely in his community, and that same lifestyle is spreading to more and more people who have HIV in Indonesia. And finally, for conflict resolution, in northern Uganda, where some of you might know Joseph Kony, the warlord, was most active, a huge issue is child soldiers, where they're kidnapped and are forced to become soldiers in these armies. So CAC has partnered with an organization called Friends of Orphans, who help these child soldiers to re-assimilate into society once they've escaped. And two of those kids, Atala and Kiho, who were brother and sister kidnapped and escaped, came into the program with CAC, participated as players, and just like Nima, are now becoming coaches so that they can pay that forward and they can sustain that effect for more kids like them who have gone through such an incredibly traumatic experience like that. So these are all incredible stories, and it's awesome to hear, but change like this, where you hear about this stuff, doesn't happen overnight. You can't just flip a switch and it's different. Most of these problems are deeply rooted in tradition and culture in these areas. So because of that, CAC focuses their message on children, on educating the next generation and creating a lasting change in that community. So thus far, since 2008 when they started, they've already impacted more than 800,000 very deserving kids in places like Haiti and Brazil and Kenya and Nepal, as well as 29 other countries, which is just incredible. They've had this big of a span in such a short time. And they really believe in gender equality in sport and society, in the unifying nature of soccer, as well as one's ability to choose their future if given the right tools. So as soon as I heard about CAC, I knew that I wanted to be involved. I mean, they do such great things. There's success stories that I haven't shared with you that are just as incredible and really heartwarming to hear. So as soon as I heard about it, I basically pulled up the application form and was ready to do it. So once I was accepted and learned that I was gonna have to fundraise before I go, I was really impressed with what their idea was for the fundraising, because they're not asking me to step in front of people I know and ask you to pay for my trip. They're asking you to believe in this cause and to donate to the organization. The money that I raise isn't going to me. The money that I raise is going to CAC to redistribute and prioritize it however they feel fit and whatever needs it most in their organization, which I was very impressed with and happy that I didn't have to ask you to give me money. I want to give to the organization that's really doing it. And I love that because this money is going to help people like Jinan and Nima and Atala and Kiho all over the world who haven't had those same success stories yet. So because of that, I want to raise $7,000 before I leave, of which I've raised about $2,600 so far. And another thing about CAC that I really liked was that 93 cents out of every $1 that's donated goes directly to starting and sustaining programs, and only 7 cents goes to administrative costs. So if I can reach my goal of 7,000, just to put it in perspective, over 6,500 goes directly to starting programs. So a huge chunk of what I raise will really, really make a difference. I really believe this is a worthy cause to be involved with and to donate to, because there are more Jinans and Atalas and Kihos and Nimas out there. And we've heard these great success stories, but there are tons of success stories waiting to happen. And those stories can't happen if we don't continue to work and to help every day. So finally, I really want to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart again for coming. It's just awesome to be able to spread the news about this cause, because I thought I knew everything there was to know about soccer, but I didn't know about CAC before, so that means other people haven't heard about it, and they really, really do incredible things. So donations are entirely optional, although they're greatly appreciated. If you choose to donate, we've received anything between $50 up to even $500. So if you choose to, anything helps. It'll all go toward a great cause. If you choose to donate, cash is accepted. Checks can be made out to CAC or Coaches Across Continents, and we will have a screen set up on the computer if you'd like to donate with a credit card. So thank you all again, and if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer those right now.
All right.